Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what time you're watching this and wherever you are. Welcome to another of the Festival in a Box 2.0 sessions. This one is for Hinch Distillery, and I'm just about to talk to Aaron Flaherty, who's in the background waiting to come in. So without any further ado, if you grab your Hinch 10-year-old sherry cask finish and enjoy the session. And here we go with Aaron. Aaron, how are you doing?
Hi Eddie, how you doing?
I'm very well. It's almost as if you'd prepared for this.
Yeah, I know we're getting a lot of that recently. I think we're just getting so used to conducting these type of interviews and sessions by online now that we're lucky enough that we've got a prime backdrop. It's not a blue screen. I hasten to add, this actually is the still house behind me, so we're lucky to have such a view for it.
I know. Well, I having been there myself, seeing just before the stills were unveiled, I know it's for real.
Yeah,
I'm very happy to see you there.
You'll know when we see a cleaner or something coming across the gangway here with a bucket and mop or something while we're in the middle of this.
Well, anyway, hopefully we're not too far from the point where we can actually get together in real life and share a dram with other people and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a long time coming.
It has. I think everyone's raring to go, but hopefully this will suffice for now. So anyway, Aaron, obviously I know you quite well, but the folks at home might not know you. So I'm just going to give you a little opportunity to introduce yourself and let everyone know who you are, what you've been up to, and what your backstory is.
Okay. Well, my name's Aaron Flaherty. I'm the head distiller here at Hinch Distillery. A bit about myself. I actually started off in whiskey and distillation with Diageo, which seems many moons ago now, back in 2005 it was. So I started off in Elgin and was really embroiled in malt distilling and all aspects. So great thing with a company like Diageo, they really do offer you the experience of seeing every single part of the whiskey industry. So I worked in everything from a maltings through into some of the malt distilleries itself and the technical. And then as years went on, I came across the Bush Mills when we had acquired that at the time. And also then back to Scotland to work in grain distillation at Cameron Bridge, of course, which provides the majority of the liquid for Johnny Walker and brands like that. So really had a great experience and view around whiskey in general. Later on in my time with them, I went into actually beer in Africa, of all places, but that's not quite the same. So when the opportunity came to take on the role here of looking after the distillery build, the commission, and then obviously the liquid production for Hinch Distillery, which is actually on my doorstep for where I actually grew up. So it was great to return home, and it's such a wonderful project, and really pleased to be here. And thankfully now we're, even with COVID and all the problems that brought, we were able to get the distillery build through and actually start distillation last year.
Yeah, well, it's been a great story, and great to see you guys finally get up and running.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, even when COVID hit, credit to the team here and Terry Cross, the owner himself, because you could have taken that opportunity to maybe put your foot on the ball, but we everything continued on. I think there was maybe 2 or 3 weeks where things had to come to a natural stop when the initial outbreak came. But once construction was allowed back again, then we have just been full steam ahead then to get the distillery operational. And as I say, thankfully we were able to get distillation done in our founding year of 2020. And actually finish off our cask release program, which was a real big milestone for us, given that we only actually started getting new make off the stills here in November.
Brilliant. Well, listen, we're going to talk more about the distillery itself and what you're up to as we go through. But I think it's important that we introduce whiskey into the mix.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna pour myself a wee dram of the.
Yep.
10-year-old.
Here's one I prepared earlier.
Yep. So tell us a bit about the 10-year-old sherry cask finish, because the the eagle-eyed amongst our viewers will understand that you only started distilling last year, so 10 years old seems a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah, that's it. And I think, again, credit to Terry, the owner, when he had the vision of building the distillery here at Hinch. He was obviously committing quite a bit of capital to the build itself. The project's £15 million worth here. But at the same time, he also went out a number of years ago and acquired some maturing, good quality Irish whiskey. Now, it's lucky that he did, because if you were to try and go out and acquire that whiskey today, you just simply wouldn't be able to get it. Obviously, with Irish whiskey, the way the trajectory has been going in the industry, just getting your hands on older malt liquid and older grains, it's almost impossible now. Or you really need to have had it for some time. So that's what Terry did. He acquired specific source liquid that would almost act as the bridge between the present now and then what will come with our own liquid. And the 10-year-old sherry finish is exactly one of those SKUs, if you like, because there's a number of things about this product that really will link into the mainstay of what we are producing behind me here. So, as I say, it's a tried and tested formula for a lot of Irish brands in the sourcing of liquid, because of course up until 15-20 years ago there really only were 3 or 4 distilleries, so a lot of liquid sharing was done. But with being quite precise in what we actually sourced, and then how we look at things like finishing, how we mature, how we blend, it really gives us that platform to step off from now and hopefully bring people in on board on the Hinch story, and then be able to take them through from our first new make mature coming of age, and then into our own single malts and things like that. So the 10-year-old is actually part of what we call our time collection. There's four brands in that. We have a small batch, we have a 5-year-old double wood, the 10-year-old sherry finish, and then a peated single malt. So specifically looking at the 10-year-old sherry finish, we wanted to put an age statement out there, because it's something, there are some very old malts actually in this. There's up to 16-year-old malt in here, but we wanted to put that out because I naturally see our distillery here as primarily a single malt distillery, and I'm really looking forward to when we can get out. Of course, I wanted to let people experience throughout our timeline here that they're drinking some of our young age, but then going into where you're getting 10-year-old single malts, 12, 16s and things like that. So the reason why we were lucky enough, we sourced very good sherry butts from Jerez, from the Bodega Garvey. And again, the sole purpose of that was because sherry is going to play a big part in the inventory of casks that I'm filling here. In fact, I got delivery of 2 container loads of sherry casks from Jerez just last month. And that's what I'm now filling new make into as well, because again, if you look at Irish traditionally, when you're sourcing liquid, a lot of that liquid matured really its full life in bourbon, and then we're finishing in sherry. With Hinch here, I want to have a really good portfolio of casks, so that our new make is getting laid down in a variety of casks, whether it be sherry, bourbons, virgin oaks, and others, ports, etc., Amaronis, things like that. So that's why we have ended up with a product like this, because we can see how it will naturally link into what we're going to be doing, and we're really pleased with how the 10-year-old has come out. Are we okay to go into the tasting here? It seems
absolutely yes.
It seems 10 o'clock in the morning is as good a time as any to have your first dram.
You're not meant to mention the time.
Oh, sorry, 5 o'clock in the evening.
That's right. Yeah, well, I've had a cheeky wee taste myself already, and it definitely works well as a breakfast whiskey for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, just on the nose itself, as you would expect with a sherry influenced whiskey, you really do get that fruit coming across. Now, I would be the first to say, this isn't a sherry bomb. Some people may like that. My own personal taste is I like the influence of sherry without it being overpowering. And I think even on the nose, while you get those, darker fruits that you do associate with the sherry, you can get the backbone of the whiskey itself. And there's I get like a lovely leathery, fresh tobacco, and all those lovely wood notes as well on the nose. So,
yeah. But you can definitely still taste the grain, the barley.
Oh, absolutely. And that's, I suppose that's my own personal vision on whiskey as well. And what we are going to be trying to achieve at Hinch, because a lot of Irish whiskey, as I say, when you only have a few distilleries and you had lots of Irish brands, there's, you're trying to compete in what you can do and finish with this and finish with that. And sometimes when you finish whiskey, you take away from what the actual spirit character was itself. And for me, the perfect balance of whiskey is how you balance the character of what comes off your stills within the influence of the wood. And when you can marry those two to a point, and that will determine what age you take your certain spirits out at, that's the point, when you're getting a lovely balance between the two, not one over the other. And for me, I think this particular whiskey really does that, because you do still get some citrus and things. This is a blend, of course, you see, so there's grain and malt spirit in here. And while you get the sort of luxurious mouthfeel and everything you associate with malt, there is that nice citrusy little spiciness that the grain brings to it as well, even though you've got those undeniable sherry notes coming through.
Yeah.
And for me, it gives quite an elegant, it's quite an elegant sherry, I would say, rather than that big sherry bomb.
Yeah. So when you start to bottle your distillate from Hinch, and with this being a blend, have you given any consideration to blended brands within the Hinch portfolio?
Yes, I mean, we will certainly continue to offer blended SKUs, and currently when you look at the Time collection, 3 of those are blends. So we have the small batch, we have the 5-year-old, and we have the 10-year-old. But personally, for me, I would like to see then where those age statements, I start taking those age statements back for the single malts. But nonetheless, we will continue with those blends, and where we have now sourced malt and grain, we will continue to source grain, but it will now be the Hinch malt feeding into all of those blends. And the great thing about the distillery here, what we're trying to do with our own single malt is create something that is really bold and full of character and impactful, because from having worked the majority of my whiskey life in Scotland, the old adage was always, oh, well, sure, in Ireland, you triple distill and you take out all the flavour. Whereas I know well that you can, as long as you distill, if you're processing correctly, you can still keep lots and lots of those bold characters about. And that's what I'm really excited about doing here at Hinch, because for Irish whiskey drinkers, we simply don't have the variants, we don't have the choice that you do with the Scotch. And for me, as I see all of these new distilleries come on board in Ireland, it's really exciting, because we should now be able to start painting our own whiskey wheel for Ireland, where when people want those malty, cereal, rye bread type spirits, they can. If they want the floral fruities, they can experience that. If they want meaty or nutty, or and that's the excitement that we have. And thankfully, the way we designed the distillery here and the way it's been built is to allow us to maximize and flex just the type of character we can come off here.
Yes. Well, I mean, I was going to ask you actually about any particular quirks in the production process and the way the distillery is being built, because I know obviously you have to maximize innovation and experimentation. So I'm sure everyone would love to hear, what you can do there. It's I think from my point of view, it's probably what can't you do there, really.
Yeah. Well, the great thing is, again, from my own background of majority Scotch and single malt, how you would expect the mash house to look is basically one mashing vessel. But what we've actually got here at Hinch Distillery, we have two vessels. We have a mash conversion vessel, and then we have the lauter tun. And that helps in a number of elements when you're actually mashing and then before you go on to fermentation. So I'm sure a lot of people know that traditionally there's what's called an Irish pot still, where you can use unmalted and malted grains. Now that is something that I would look at doing because it's uniquely Irish, and I would look at creating a pot still here on special occasions, if you like, and special releases. And that setup helps with that, the mash conversion vessel and the lauter tun. But as I said earlier, primarily I want to be looking at Hinch being a single malt distillery. But we still went for that platform, if you like, because with the mash conversion vessel, we're looking at that being able to extract, as much flavor component as we possibly can from the cereal itself before then we're into the lauter tun where you're separating your wort from your spent grain. So that's unique. As I say, if you went to a Bushmills or if you went to a Scotch single malt distillery, you would just see the one vessel there. So that in itself gives us a little bit of experimental work that we can do on the mash. Then, of course, we're in the fermentation, and the way that we're looking at fermentation here is we're looking at medium to long fermentations. So my fermentations here at the minute are lasting 3 days or 5 days. And again, I'm very keen to keep that on. You do that by being able to not mash on the weekend, and it allows you those 5-day fermentations, because when you're mixing those, again, it all builds character. You're creating new congener and flavor components in the longer fermentations that you're not in those medium term. And I think a combination of those again just adds to the complexity of the spirit itself. Now, when we go into the still house, and this is where we can really play tunes with what we do, because you can see over my shoulder here, there's the 3 whiskey stills behind me, Donard, Krug and Weevinian. That's the names of our stills after 3 of the Mourne Mountains here in County Down. But you can see behind me there that even though there's the 3 of those, we can either double distill or triple distill. And that's quite unique that we can actually flick between those. Now, currently, everything I'm doing is the traditionally Irish triple distilled, but I'm looking forward to when we experiment with potentially peated malt. We're going to be running peated very soon, that we could do some double distilled peated on top of triple, and also just some other single malts where we may just double. But the stills themselves, not only can we obviously flex between how many distillations we can run here, but you'll actually see from the stills, you won't quite see the bottom of them, but trust me, the bottom of the still isn't far behind my finger here if you're looking at the middle still. So really you can tell that they're quite squat. Now, when you've got quite squat stills, you're obviously looking at less copper contact. So that can help you then when you're looking for meatier, maybe nutty, sulfury, or more robust spirits. But at the same time then, you'll also notice that we have the boil bulbs on the stills here. We've also got then the line arms that are sort of slightly inclined, and that then is allowing us to really play with reflux and allow that copper content or copper contact to increase. So that's really the reason why we have went for these sort of specific unique shapes that we have with the stills. We've got sub-coolers on our condensers, which again will allow us to play with the rate of condensing that we have on the spirit. And it also means that in those some hot summer months, we don't really get affected by the natural conditions of outside, which a lot of the traditional distilleries I used to work at would have problems with. So those are all types of things that we really brought into the design of the distillery, so that we could maximize it, because it's all about character here. We don't want to just be putting out volume of Irish spirit. We want to be putting out a variety of real bold flavor profile new make. And certainly the new make that we've got off the stills at the minute, I'm really pleased with where it is. It's, for me, it is firmly in that multi-cereal quadrant of the flavor profile, but there's an undeniable. It's almost like a black currant blackberry note when we're filling, and it really comes off it. So it's got that underlying malt, cereal, rye bread backbone, and this beautiful berried fragrance. It's almost, if you were walking out here in County Down and the hedgerows and the berries that you get on that, it really does come off it beautifully. So really pleased how the new make's coming off. And as I say, we've already laid that down into some top quality ex-bourbons, some sherries, and some other experimental casks as well that we'll look forward to pulling out. I was lucky enough I got to fill those 12 experimental casks on my birthday, my 40th birthday. So I look forward to my 50th and my 60th and taking those out to see how they have come on.
Indeed. No, it sounds great. It sounds like so much going on. I look forward to coming over again at some point. So in terms of the future for the distillery and the Hinch brand, I know you said that you were looking to increase the rate of production. Is there anything else that you guys are doing? Just targeting in terms of the future markets that you're excited about, or any particular product lines that you might be launching, pre the actual spirit being ready for bottling, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so there's been a number of initiatives that we've already come out with, and we've really enjoyed doing that, because if you think about it, while we are if we don't experiment now with the liquid that we have with our sourced spirit, what it's allowing us to do is really look at specific cask types that we then may introduce for the new make itself. So, off the top of my head there, we had Terry, the owner. He actually has a vineyard in Bordeaux, which he has owned from, I think it was the year 2000. And we were actually able to select some of his Grand Reserve casks that he had been maturing his wine in. And I got those back last year and put some of our older single malt sourced spirit into that. And the way that those casks reacted with the spirit, it gave a beautiful, it was a fresh red summer berry finish onto the spirit. And that was then released as a special, that 18-year-old with the wine accompanying it as well. But we've gone into other things as well, where we were looking at craft and casks. Now, we've actually released one into the UK recently here, where what we were doing there, we collaborated with a number of local breweries who are doing very big on the scene in their craft beers. One is Whitewater, which is actually just a stone's throw from here in County Down. They had a beautiful stout, Creme de la Kremlin, where they took some of my casks that I'd disgorged here at the distillery, filled their stout into it, left it in there for a number of weeks. And then when he took that out, I took the casks back and then refilled with our spirit again. And that produced a beautiful whiskey. It's actually on the shelf here. Our Imperial Stout finish, we called it. And it just gave such beautiful chocolatey coffee notes. And that type of innovation and experimentation is something we're really keen on doing. And we actually released a couple for the American market specifically with another brewery, Kinniger, and that was a red rye and a rye export. So those have come out really well. We're liking seeing how that's happening. We do have another couple in the pipeline. I'm sure I won't be giving anything away if I say one's an Amarone influenced spirit. So really looking forward to that, and it allows me to experiment with casks, and then it actually has probably given me a bit of a sway on type of cask I'm going to fill some of our new make into.
Brilliant. Yeah, well, it sounds like you guys are not standing still, that's for sure.
Yeah, sometimes you think, right, well, is it too much? But at the end of the day, you don't need to release everything you experiment with, and that's the beauty of what we're doing here. It's almost a blank canvas. No one came to me and said, I want to produce this type of spirit, I want it in this cask, and I want it at this cost. I feel like it's a complete open playing field, and you're able to bring your own personal touch to that. I'm lucky enough that we've got a really good team of distillers on board with me here as well, and that's what's exciting about working here. We come in, we've got great guys like Michael Morris and Jamie Cotter as well. We've got William Stafford just joined the team, and we can just bounce things off each other. Right? Should we try this? Will we give it a go? And there's the freedom to do that, and that's what whiskey should be about. It's about feeling, it's about emotion. It's hard to tell that sometimes to the financial director, but that's what we really want to. We want people to experience emotions and memories when they're drinking Hinch, and hopefully that's what we're going to be able to bring to the table.
I'm sure you will. I'm convinced of it. And just finally, Aaron, before I let you go, what's your feelings on the current state of the global whiskey industry? Is there anything exciting you see happening, or what's your feeling about the general state of?
Well, for me, I remember, there was an old saying in my old place at Diageo, and it's when Scotch is winning, everything's winning. Now that was very specific, but for me now, I really look at it as when whiskey in general is winning, then it doesn't matter whether you're in Irish, you're in Scotch, you're in Japanese. There's some great whiskies being produced in Scandinavia, and it's great to see. And I'm all for that. As the whole industry benefits when certain whiskies take off, and you should embrace that. And really, that is why we're here. We want whiskey to continue, where we're getting new people to experience whiskies of all different types. I suppose that's why when I look at Irish specifically as well, I've actually heard recently some people saying, "Oh, there are too many distilleries in Ireland now," and I just think, are you having a laugh? We haven't even started. These new distilleries that have come up, our new make isn't even coming of age yet, and we're wondering, have we got too many? And for me, that's just folly, because we just haven't got the depth and breadth that we should have. And if you look back long ago, there was hundreds of distilleries in Ireland. We're only sitting in the 30s at the minute. So I'm really looking forward to all of these distilleries start to bring out their own spirit, and the way the competition will just expand, and it's healthy competition, because it gives consumer the chance to taste different whiskies and different characters, and we're not all trying to be what's come before. Everyone's trying to find their own place, and I certainly think that if that trend keeps going, then everybody, as long as they're putting out quality liquid, they're taking the time to put out, to make quality new make, to put it in quality wood, then there should be, just really looking forward to seeing all of these whiskies come of age and getting some real quality drams onto the market.
Great. Yeah, I totally agree. It's a very exciting time. But it's only going to get more exciting.
That's it. And with that comes pressure, and that's exactly what you want, to be making sure that what we're putting out is right up to the top standard.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, Aaron, I think I've taken up enough of your time. I very much would like to thank you for coming on today. It's been a pleasure to catch up, as always.
No problem. Great to have you here, and looking forward to the time when you can get back over again, and we can start having events in here and actually let people see around the place. Yeah,
exactly. So you'll be open for tours soon enough, right?
Well, we're actually open at the minute. Right. So that only happened really this week. Wow.
So anyone in the County Down area for holiday can come and
absolutely. Come and join us. You can even just sit in the bar and have a drink, or in the brasserie for some food. So ready, open for business.
Brilliant. Well, I may well see you in the autumn.
Oh, very good.
Okay.
Well, I'll make sure I've booked us a table.
No. All right. Well, listen. Thanks again, Aaron, and
no problem.
Enjoy the rest of your day, and cheers, everyone at home. Hope you enjoyed the session. and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
Sláinte.
Sláinte.